Look at what I did. That thing is rad.
How much?
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is up, everybody? My name is Dane Thompson, and you're watching Burndown. All right, so we are back again on the PowerGlide build. If you're watching these videos in order, the last one was the reverse clutch pack install. Now we get to move on to more assembly stuff. So right now what we're gonna do is this is your servo, and this is a shiny new piece from BTE. This is a dual ring servo. So let me show you what the original looks like. So this is the standard servo, single ring. This is the dual ring. So we're gonna take this apart, put these guts on this guy, and then slam this in. And then these are the new, or the old seals and hardware. So let's put that together and put this thing in. This is a dual ring servo, and it has the Teflon sealing rings. There's a little window, this guy. You put a feeler gauge over it, and then you install everything so this doesn't tear the Teflon rings. Because on this one, this is metal, so that's not gonna really affect that, as where this one, these things are soft and they're Teflon. So okay, so I got this bad boy on. I had to freaking push on it, but yeah, we got it clipped in. So there's a spring and a retainer underneath, and we swapped this to that. So now we have our spring and our gasket. Put it right on the, barely covering just that lip. Bang, there we go. Alright. So you're in like Flynn. So this gets an O-ring and then a gasket. So we got a new one of each of those. That one's not special. It's just a normal O-ring. Plug these guys down. Okay, so now we look 100% horizontal. Tighten it up, and that is the servo install. So I'll get back. All right, we've gotten to the point now that we have our servo in that we can actually start assembling the guts basically. So it's the reverse of the way that it comes apart. So I'll just kind of tell you what piece is going in, kind of show you as we go, but I got to refer to the manual because I am a rookie. So I do know the first piece to go down is this portion here, but let me make sure everything is nice and clean and wiped down before we get to put it. All right, first part to go in is this bad boy here. So we will get some transmission fluid around it. And then this actually goes down like this, and these teeth hold all the reverse clutches. So we got to line those up a little bit so we can slide this all the way in. So let's do that. And this guy's 11. All right, it finally sunk down, and then now this is kind of level with this window here, which I feel is the right position. So there's still some distance from the back, but it went click, and then I think we're in there good now. And like I said, we're level with this. So we will move on to the next step. Okay, now that we got the reverse in, I put this on the table. There's actually a hole that goes all the way through. So we're gonna slide the planetary into the reverse gear, but before you do that, there is this bearing that rides in here. Okay, now that that is lubed and in, we can take this guy, turn upside down, and feed it, slide it through. I'm gonna lube this shaft real quick before I do that, so we don't tear anything that's in there. Got that lubed. Put this boy. Alright, so our planetary is in. I can reach under the table, spin it, everything moves good, spins free. There's a little bushing that needs to be centered that captures your input shaft. Okay, I had this thing together and I was like, dude, this input shaft is not getting to this seal portion. It's because this wedding band needs to go in here and this goes inside. So I will lube this up. We will put that in there, put that facing down, and then we will assemble it. All right, so now we have our high clutch pack. Our wedding band is installed in here. And then we will take this, stuff it in that direction. And then you can see this has a lip on it. So technically what will happen is this will ride like that, hold that wedding band in place. So this goes in here, face up like so. Let's slam that back in. Lube our seals on here. Gears. There we go. All right, the next step we have to do on this is to install the low gear band, and these are the components to do so. But I'm upgrading to a hardened, what is this? A PowerGlide adjustment arm. So this is a hardened screw, essentially. This is a standard one, and you can see there's a little more meat on it and a bigger bolt. And anyway, we're gonna stuff this in because this is what they sent me. So this is the good stuff. You don't want this one, you want the new one. This will come off the servo and push on that side of it. This comes on to this side, and there's an indentation where that's gonna fit in. So that explains how this technically works outside of the case. So this thing is a bit of a wave, so the orientation, just make sure that it meets with this. So that's your orientation in here, like that. Move that over, and then capture this. All right, that is it. That's how that guy goes in there. And then it goes through, and then this is your adjustment. So I'm gonna put some fluid around this guy so we don't burn anything up. So the next step is to actually install the pump. So it says here you're supposed to check end play because of this thrust washer, but I did not get a new thrust washer. This one looks decent. I'm just gonna reinstall it, which means I shouldn't have to check end play because nothing has changed as far as this is concerned. So there's a whole section on checking the end play, but it is what it is. So I'm just gonna lube that thing up really good, lube the seals up, get my new gasket rolling, and then we're gonna stick it back together. All right, so we just got these snug just so it seated the pump. So this is in place. Bam, and that is it. Pump is in, everything is in place. Now we just gotta put the guts back together, and we're gonna be rolling. Woo, look at that, it's starting to look like a transmission again. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna install all the linkage. Which side is it going? It's on this side. So all the rooster comb and all that fun stuff, we'll get that all situated before we move on to the valve body. So I'm gonna figure it out as I go. Here's a diagram. And then the other thing I need to install is this. So this is a shift lever, a 2-piece shift lever. And then the original one had this thing and then this. So there's no instructions obviously with this, so I'm gonna have to look at how it's assembled and then just kind of go from there. This was captured with these little splines, so it's clocked properly. This doesn't have that. Okay, so this is pretty slick. So what they did is they just cut a flat spot instead of putting all the little teeth in it. So now it only fits in one way just like the original, so you don't have to guess. But it just doesn't have all the little teeth. So I'll just follow the instructions and then that'll work out great. I was a little concerned about that, but now I'm good to go. So that is awesome. I already lubed that, by the way, for anybody that's wondering or keeping track. Critiquing, criticizing, you know. Alright, I'm going to show you guys this and save you the headache that I just had. So if you look at the orientation here, it shows that, and then it goes boom. This is what it's assembled. You see this is moved over though. This portion of it is moved over. So it doesn't really explain how you go from this to that, right? So I was in here struggling, and what's supposed to happen is this spring is supposed to keep this arm up and away. This arm is just a big chunk of steel that engages in the lugs in there, and then that's what holds your car in park. When you put your car in park and it doesn't roll, it's because this piece of metal is jammed into that piece of metal down there like that. But when you're driving, you don't want this piece of metal jammed into that piece, so the spring holds it out. It shows this orientation, right? So you're like, oh, okay. So if you just put that in, you know, like in the picture. So there's the picture there. I put that in there, put that in there. It doesn't do anything, and then how is this supposed to engage and move it, right? Well, that's not the orientation. The orientation is this rests against a case, and then this portion is pulling it away. Is going to go in the hook like that. So it would go down flat like this. I don't know if I can even do this one-handed. Okay, essentially it needs to go like that. That arm down, this one through the hole, and then technically this needs to be on top of that when you bolt it all together. So let me do that. Okay, so now, see how it holds that, nothing's flopping around? If I push it, it engages, let's go. See that? I learned me something. Finally, geez. But that's part of learning, man. It's a headache. I know that was simple. If I already knew it, I would have been moved on a long time ago. But at least it showed you guys. So if you get to that point, you're gonna breeze right through, you'll thank me later. All right, on to this bad boy. Oh, ta-da! Look at that thing. So bad. This is what's going to get the party started. BTE, billet, trans brake. Make sure we get all the parts out of here. All right, so this thing comes all pre-assembled. And then the only thing I had to do was insert this, and this is where the solenoid pushes on to activate the trans brake. And then I just moved the little arm here to there. And I think that is kind of it. This is right here too. So this is your shifter, but this comes with its own. So I think we are good. And then this, I don't even have a provision. It said to just discard that, I guess. So I think we're good. We will set this in the case and see how we go. Ta-da! We've got the valve body in. This is the little tube, the servo feed tube. This just had a regular bolt on the other throttle valve body. I keep calling it throttle body. So this just had a bolt right here on the other valve body. So I took the one that was in the BTE, and this is my detent spring. This is the rooster comb is in place. Everything is torqued down. So now you can take it. I keep getting sketched out that I'm going to cut my hand on this thing, but that is it. It goes into gears. We are rock and roll. And then back here, this thing moves freely. This is for the trans brake. So everybody is happy, goes into gear, goes into park. So we are doing really well on this. Next is the filter, which comes with the pan. So I got to get the filter, I think extension or whatever. We'll put all that stuff on. We put the pan on. We made some progress, finally. Finally, take that transmission. All right, I guess before we do all that, we can put our trans brake in, which will seal this hole up. And then this is actually going to need a little gasket. So this is the old one. So I'll put this over here with all the used parts and find a new gasket. We will install this, tighten it down, then we will put the pan on. Look at that shiny. The gasket that came with it's pretty jacked, so we won't use that. and then this is the little standoff and hardware that we need to install it. So this is a filter extension, and it allows the filter to get to the bottom of this pan because it's deeper. So this is where you would bolt this bad boy on. All right, we've got our little riser installed. There's a gasket here and then a gasket on the top. So it actually takes 2 gaskets now to get that thing installed. Next, we'll dig out the pan gasket, throw that on. Our next portion is this guy. So there's a bushing in there. If it's bad, replace it. I'm just gonna call it good on mine. There's a gasket and a seal. I believe that obviously probably goes around the outside when you stick it in there. Or maybe it goes in there. We'll find out in a minute. But yeah, so make sure this is clean. I'll blow this thing off. Get the new gasket and seal. Then we will put this portion on here. Lube her up. Should be good to go. All right, now that we have this part in place, the next step, BTE says to, before assembling transmission, discard governor assembly if equipped, rear pump gears, vacuum modulator, vacuum spring. So this is our vacuum modulator with the spring. This is our governor assembly. So you discard this. So this piece and all this stuff, I believe, all this and that, and then we can take this off, is our governor assembly. So we don't need that, but it does state that you need the governor support, which I would assume is this portion, because this supports the shaft and then this piece threads in to hold it in place. So the governor will no longer be in position, but the support will still be there. So that's just this guy. So we'll just put just the support back. All right, so that is in. Now I just have to figure out where the hole is, and then tighten it up, and that'll be on there. Got the tail housing shaft in place. Last step, I think, is going to be putting the bell housing on. So these are just snugged in place to hold the pump. So now we will take these out and then put the real hardware in. These come with washers and O-rings. So I would imagine the O-ring would want to go in between here to seal it. Check it out, problem solved. It's already cut for O-rings. Ah, BTE, you guys are tricky. That is slick. That's what I was gonna do. I was gonna put the hardware through and then put the O-ring on the backside before I install it on the pump. But they beat me to it. They thought of it. You guys are awesome. I'm gonna do that now. All right, so then we will just O-ring each and every one of these little guys. Dun, 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 dun. You know, every time I'm filming, it's guys mowing lawns. We got neighbors' cars that like to phantom honk horns all day. That car's doing that all day. It's time to adjust our low band. So what they say in here is 70 inch-pounds or snug, and then back it out 4 turns. 70 inch-pounds is quite a bit, by the way, at least that's what my little gauge is saying. Okay, we're at 70 inch-pounds. Now we got to back it out 4 turns. So we're here. So 1, 2, 3. Let's turn number 4 right there. Tighten her up. Well, that is it. I am so excited to try this thing out. You guys need to keep your fingers crossed. I'm gonna keep my fingers and toes crossed that this thing actually functions properly. I don't see why it wouldn't, but you never know. You know, this is amateur hour over here, but you know what? Look at what I did. That thing is rad. And then just to finish it off, I'm gonna give it the old rattle can treatment. So we'll just bag this up, bag that up, and we'll squirt the body black. We'll leave this cast. I'll give you guys a final look at it. But that is pretty much it for this episode. If you like this, Click subscribe, share, tell your friends, tell everybody. Go visit burndownmerch.com, get a shirt, help support the channel. That is it. And keep your fingers crossed. That's more important than all that other stuff. I'm out.